43.
42. 41.
40.
39.
Number 1.
39.
38.
37.
36.
35.
34.
33. 32.
31.
30. 29.
28.
27.
26.
25.
24.
23.
21.
20.
19.
18.
17. 16.
15.
14.
13.
12.
11.
10.
9. 8.
7. 6. 5.
4.
3.5.
3.
2.
1.
Hey, Rocky, you want to see me pull a show out of my hat? Nothing up my sleeve. Presto. All right. It's time for the Mouthwash Show, a minty, fresh take on politics. And yes, the doctor is in. We have Dr. Daniel Stock in and tonight, and we're going to talk about the Tylenol. Talk about that Tylenol, see what's up with that. We have, left violence by, clip from JD Vance. And I got to shout out to Brad again for getting us the talking points out. It gives us some stuff to talk about. And we're going to talk about a couple things. I'm going to definitely talk about this little beauty I got in the mail today about the census. They want to, I don't want to hold it up there too long because it's got codes on there. Apparently, if I do not go online and fill out this census thing, something's going to happen to me because it says by law, I have to fill this out. And it says it's a random address. They just picked my address by random. So I'm sure Lucy will have something to say with that. I do not see her backstage, but I see, beautiful Tiffany's back there. We got beautiful Brad back there, and we got beautiful Dan back there. But I'm thinking that Lucy will pop on here because I know she's going to be like, why do they need to know what you got? What's going on here? So they said to improve my community and let them know what elderly things are needing because, I guess I got the gray hair. Maybe it's not as random as they think. But I got the population clock up. I think we'd talk about that. And there's Lucy popping in backstage. I knew she would be here. So just on that note, Brad sends out the talking points and they don't know which ones I'm going to pick because he'll have about 10 things on there to pick. So we're pretty much just coming at it like you are. We do a little research on it. I actually do to see which ones try to set up the show. And I do think it makes a big difference on that. But if you watched Witty Reviews, I want to make a comment about that. So Steve Whitmer has got a gift of doing this research. He was doing research live online and he just put stuff together. Now, he usually has about 30 live viewers, and our show usually has about 30 live viewers. I mean, of course, the dead ones can't really watch too well, but you know what I mean. We have, and then a lot of folks watch our shows after the fact as a podcast or listening to it on their phone when they're going to work or whatever. But we try to bring you the latest and greatest of what's going on and give you an honest take on it and let you decide what's happening. So Steve Whitmer's digging into this Three Kings article that the Star made, which they used a lot of his research on to get this going. And there's a gentleman's name on there, Chad Pittman. And as soon as Witty started talking about that, he was at about 30 live viewers, and about 3 or 4 minutes later, that thing was up to 75 live viewers. So I don't know who Chad Pittman is, but a lot of people really wanted to see what was being said about Chad Pittman. So I think there's more to come on that. He's got a lot of contracts with the state, and I don't know. It just was really weird because I produced that show and I'm sitting there watching this and I'm like, dude, I don't know what you just said, but it got somebody's attention. But anyway, to our show, the great Mouthwash Show, we are getting our viewers popping on here. I'm going to have, Dr. Dan Stock on. He's a last minute thing. Jerry Lopez was sort of scheduled to come on, but he's got a couple things that collided. We will have him on very soon. And I know that a future guest, John Rust, I saw he's got a fancy bus out that says taxation is theft. So I sent a picture of that to Lucy, and she's already like, yeah, let's go. So there's a lot going on, and we will cover what we can and when we can. So I'm going to go ahead and bring on Dr. Stock and see what's up here. Mr. Stock, how are you this evening?
Good, John. How you doing?
It's always great. You're still the record holder for the most post views, over 6,000, 7,000, whatever. It's a lot of views for the mask, because you came out of Mount Vernon or Comfort or wherever that was and said, these masks are Boulder Dash. And then time proceeded to prove you right. So, but you were a scoundrel. You were a scoundrel at first for saying such a thing. It was really crazy. But real
pardon me for wanting to debate.
Yeah, well, hey, that's it's just tough right these days. There's a lot of I don't think a lot of people want to listen to one side or the other on both sides. But you do the pure medicine. Is that I was curious on that. I didn't know. Fill our viewers in a little bit about that and yourself real quick, and then we'll get to it.
Sure. Well, Pure Health Functional Family Medicine is the practice my wife and I founded to escape the financial conflicts of interest that are just riddling through the healthcare system right now. I like to tell people money serves the hand that holds it. And when you give an insurance company or government employer and say, take care of my health, they start taking care of it their way. And we named it Pure Health because actually we have it in our contract with all of our patients that not only will we only accept money from our patients in payment, we will accept no profit from anyone else on anything that I give them advice on. So whether it's a referral or a lab or
you're giving away money.
Yeah. Whatever it is that I recommend you take or recommend against your taking, I'm not allowed to make money or lose money on it, so that I have no financial conflicts of interest with anything in my practice. Therefore, the only way I make money is to read scientific data very, very thoroughly, very, very accurately, and give very unconflicted advice about biochemistry and health.
Well, this will be a great episode with the latest Tylenol stuff coming out and different things that I know that you will have a very good opinion. And I've heard you speak many times, and I know you're wanting to get into the legislature thing. I know the CCLA, the Citizens Coalition for what is it again?
Legislature accountability.
Legislator. I will get it. I'll tell you what, probably by the time I get it, they'll be doing it. How's that?
We'll have the rules changed and the lobbyists won't have any power in our legislature anymore. But
yeah,
actually you'll probably get into it before that, because until everybody gets into it, the legislator will still be under the power of lobbyists.
Well, I was looking forward to all that lobbyist money. I mean, it's like, hey, I'm no Chad Pittman or whoever gets all this money, but it is interesting. But hey, what's that? There's a saying from the 1800s that says, "Money is the mother's milk of politics." So everybody's sitting around getting fat on the milk, trying to get it going. So, but I leave that up to Whitty.
We have the best government money can buy.
Well, I want my money back. I want a refund, like that guy in Breaking Away. Refund. Yeah, I want that. It's great to have you back on the show. I think this is like your 6th or 7th time to be on, and we appreciate your willingness to come on and risk your career on the Mouthwash Show, because it's ended and supported many careers over the 240th. This is the 240th show of Mouthwash. So I given the panel alert here. I see Brad looking at his phone, Tiffany looking at his phone, but I'll bring Lucy on first. Here we go. Let's do this one. All right. Hey, Lucy, what's happening?
Oh my goodness. I'm just getting ready for my meeting next week. Dan, since the last time we spoke, I've now been appointed to the Plan Commission of Washington County. So I'm one of the citizen members that helps draft zoning and planning and make recommendations to our commissioners on what they should and shouldn't do. And then they get the final vote. So of course I'm like, nope.
So you're involved in, and we need citizenry involved in politics, because otherwise the only people who make the rule have nothing to hear for except moneyed lobbyists. They need to hear from people who aren't moneyed lobbyists. So
and we're fighting for that. That's for sure.
Yep. So Lucy, what'd you think about the John Rust bus? I mean, I think he took a paid.
Oh,
Yeah, it's like I'm sure he'll
my
give you a tour of it.
my total dream is to just like take an old school bus and pop the top, so you can actually stand up straight if you got some height to you, and just trick that thing out. Maybe put some tie dye or something on the outside of it and drive away. Never come back. Just
And
go from
sell
museum
your
to museum
herbs,
and state park to state park. Yeah, exactly.
peddle your herbs and snake oil all over the country, right? So
Absolutely.
it'd be good.
Well, that COVID vaccine had some snake venom in it, according to Dr. Artis. So am I really the one peddling the snake oil? Or is that the
I
US
know,
government once again?
I'm just
No,
right
Dr.
here.
Artis peddles snake oil like you wouldn't believe, so I wouldn't take much of what he says with much credence.
I always think of the outlaw Josie Wells when he talks about that carpetbagger that was selling the stuff. So let's bring on Brad. Brad, how are you this evening?
I'm doing good. How's everybody else doing? This is
Just fine as frog hair split 3 ways.
you guys are cracking me up so far. This is good stuff.
We're trying. So any White Sox news? What do you got going on?
No,
Any
actually, I was
fish
going to
concert?
say, like, Jerry Lopez, he's probably busy because the Yankees, it's game 1 tonight of the playoffs.
Oh, he had
And I know
Girl
he's a
Scouts or
Yankees
something
fan.
with his daughter. And he had another interview with so he really wanted to come on, but hey, we got Dan. We got Dan Stock,
Yeah.
and Jerry can just come on some other time. He's got plenty of shows.
Well, and Dan, I want you to know too, like, I'm not pro mask. I definitely don't usually wear them during conspiracy theory time. They won't make a.
We're going to have conspiracy. We are having conspiracy theory. We have time for it tonight. I'm going to make time for the conspiracy theory. They're floating around. They're just everywhere. So let's go ahead and bring on Tiffany.
I'm just anti-mask mandate. I don't think they work, but I don't think they should be mandated. So
No.
Let's see. Oh, look at that. We got everybody in the right spot there pretty quickly. Oh, Tiffany, you've been MIA and the one night you came on, you were so tired. It looked like you were getting ready to travel. You had the bags in, you were just exhausted.
Well, when we had that last show that I was on, it's like, I felt like we were kind of tiptoeing around some Abdul stuff. And I'm like, I don't even have the capacity for this. And I don't want to be named as a plaintiff or a defendant in anybody's case or anything like that. So
that's we've already been threatened. So it's like, hey, I got more than threatened. So
I didn't want to take away from all the attention that you were getting. So I thought it was best for me to just kind of retreat a bit. And then last week I was in Orlando for the National Federation of Republican Women for their meeting. So that was super fun and exciting. But I will tell you tonight, I will be wrapping it up right at 10 o'clock because my girls are playing tonight.
I was going to say, you're there playing. This is go home. This is win or go home. So let's go around the horn here. Brad, what's your prediction on the Fever game tonight?
They'll win.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Lucy, what do you say? No win. Lucy's not hopeful. Nope. Tiffany, you better say yes, they're going to win.
The thing is that I've got season tickets and I've watched them play. And you know how sometimes you feel like some games are fixed? I mean, like these girls are winning when I don't think they should be winning. And I am impressed. They're playing hard. Everybody's contributing, tons of injuries, and everybody they pulled up played with main character energy.
I hear Lexi Hull is like killing it.
Despite Caitlin Clark being injured, everybody that they've pulled up, Kelsey Mitchell is amazing. Lexi Hull is amazing. Sophie Cunningham is amazing. Both of them, well, Sophie's injured, but the women on the team are absolutely amazing. They're very hard workers, and I am a proud Fever fan.
Yeah, well,
he's so tall.
It's
so nice.
Yeah,
I can't even play basketball.
Well, after all that, you say I'm going to give my prediction. They're not going to win. Dan Stock, go ahead. I'm sorry, Tiffany. I'm just
the thing is that look how far they got without their main star player.
Oh, I'm hoping they win.
Amazing.
Oh, the team stepped up. It was good.
Yeah,
so cheering for them. So Stock, what do you say?
I can't make an educated prediction, but I'm rooting for them.
All right, we're going to get the Magic 8 Ball is going to decide this one. So let's see what it says. I got to get my glasses on here. This is official, by the way.
Of course.
What's it say?
Is it in Braille?
It's just hard to see. More, I don't know. More, most likely. That's what it's. That it's. I got the cheapest Magic 8 Ball going here. I ordered it.
That's what we should get you, John, is the new one.
A new one. I want an old one. I want an old one that works. This one is.
Maybe you should just get a Ouija board.
No, that's that's no a Ouija board.
No, let's do that for the Halloween episode, guys.
Get me. I want somebody. So I'll buy it. Just somebody send me a link to a real Magic 8 Ball, not one from like the 70s when they used to make crap that was good. Not one of these things that they sent me for $3.95 on the Amazon. So there, Dr. Stock, do you have a Magic 8 Ball? Is that how you diagnose a lot?
I don't have one of those. No, the CDC has the only two that are still operational, and they use it for decision making.
Well played.
The CDC. Yeah. Well, speaking of
that,
they've
been doing better lately, though. Much better lately, I will say.
Speaking of that, I want to go ahead and let me get this pulled up here. I want to get the screen share going on this Tylenol thing. And this is going to be the Trump Tylenol thing here going. So let's see if I can get this going. This is where it'd be nice to have a producer. So let's see that one right there. You
didn't want to pay Adam.
Yeah, I know. Well, it's like, well, we just don't
can't pay any of us.
We just don't have the money.
We all need to,
So is it coming up? Is it ready to go?
This country is going through what parts of the world are going through. And I will say there are parts of the world that don't take Tylenol. I mean, there's a rumor, and I don't know if it's so or not, that Cuba, they don't have Tylenol because they don't have the money for Tylenol. And they have, okay, tell me about that one. And there are other parts of the world where they don't have Tylenol, where they don't have autism. That tells you a lot. This country is going through what parts
of... Oh, yeah. Okay. I think it just replays it at this point.
Take Tylenol. I mean, there's a rumor, and I don't know if it's so or not, that Cuba...
Okay, yeah, I got to get that one going.
But honestly, I could watch him say it again, because this is just...
There we go. I got to put everybody back on there. Whoo! See,
like, what? Come on, guys.
I love my president.
We didn't even get it wasn't even the acetaminophen part. Like, there were many parts to that press conference that were not necessary and just scared the shit out of people. And that is not what a president should be for.
Oh yeah, well, but what about I heard or I saw where pregnant women were taking Tylenol online to, I wish I would have pulled something up like that, doing on the TikTok video, like eating a bunch of Tylenol.
Killing pregnant. Their livers.
It's the new Tide Pod challenge.
All right, let's ask the expert before you three weigh in here. Let's ask the expert what the heck, Dan? What the heck, Mr. Stock? What happened, Doctor? Tell me the truth.
Let me first of all say I'm a senior fellow of the Independent Medical Alliance, which has been advising the Department of Health and Human Services. That I am not speaking on behalf of the Department of Health and Human Services or any of its subdivisions or any of its advisory committees. The opinions are mine and mine alone. Having now said that, let's also make sure what's been said so far. Nobody has said that Tylenol is the solo cause of autism. Nobody has said that Tylenol is a known cause of autism. What has been proposed is that we have both a biological explanation for how it could be a partial cause, one of the things that combines together to lead someone to have autism, and that we have suggestive data, fairly suggestive data, that when used in pregnancy, it may predispose towards autism in children. So that we don't take this as, hey, this is the cause, because nobody said that no one says that, hey, it has no contribution to the disease, because we have data that says it may well have a contribution to disease. And this warning has been put out, I think, under an abundance of caution, so that women will understand while they're pregnant that this is possible. It is scientifically and biochemically plausible. And even though it is not the you can't argue with it research, it is something that people need to know is not in this definitely safe category where you can forget about it category. If you want my personal opinion, what we're going to find about Tylenol is that it is a minor variable in the development of autism, not a major cause, but a minor one. It will probably be eventually, if we ever do get you can't argue with it research, to be found to be a contributor to that which is causative. A lot of people don't know this, but during the time that aspirin was coming about, there was also research being done by the same company that was also making acetaminophen, and acetaminophen was actually abandoned in favor of aspirin because of its higher toxicity.
Oh, so aspirin is higher toxic.
When you understand the three different ways that acetaminophen or Tylenol is metabolized, you realize that two of them do really bad things. And that it's very possible to saturate the better form of metabolism from it, so that you force Tylenol to go down the two really bad pathways. And in fact, one of those pathways is not very active in infants and fetuses. So it pretty much has only two pathways, and one of them is bad. All right.
So it's sort of a coin flip a little bit.
Yeah, you've reduced the chances of the fetus is going to get out of this without an injury has gone down, because it doesn't have three pathways to spread this thing among. It only has two.
Ah, I see. So there's a little more concentration.
Yeah, you have a greater chance of this oxidative metabolism coming out, and people should know that oxidative stresses on cells are among the things that will cause inflammatory responses that can lead to that thing we call autism. So this is part of the plausible mechanism by which it could contribute to this. Because of this ability to contribute to oxidative stress in cells, which can lead them into that state of what we call cell danger response, that you get enough cells in cell danger response, brain cells won't respond right. And because we have some supportive data that says, hey, this is not something we can rule out, that this may actually be going on. In the end, I don't think this is going to be the biggest variable that leads people to have autism and other neurodevelopmental disorders. But I think we're going to have to admit that this is something that may well be found to have a contributing component to it. And because of that, mothers needed to be made aware of that.
So
and were doctors not doing that already, though? Like, doctors don't recommend, like, I mean, they still kind of warn about it. It's not as if doctors are just like, Tylenol, just keep popping them, you're fine.
No, actually, Brad,
don't worry,
that's
you
not
should
right.
tough it out, though. Tough it out. Just
no, I can tell you. No, I can tell you that's not true, and it's not true for several reasons. First of all, in medical school, this kind of intricate metabolism is not taught. I know you would think it would be. I wish the heck it were, but it's not. Medical school is extremely superficial when it comes to biochemistry. It's very good on teaching you protocols and how to do this when somebody says to, but the understanding of the biochemistry of what you're doing is not well taught. Second of all, several years ago, almost a decade ago now, the federal government decided that pain was a vital sign and you had to treat it. And if you didn't treat it, you got paid less. And once that decision got made to interfere in health, yes, that's right, John, that's correct. That's what led to the opiate epidemic.
Be a doctor's goal, right? It's to help people, right? Isn't that the Hippocratic?
So I don't know, are there wings coming out of my back and a halo here? Brad, that's a very naive understanding of doctors, all right?
Yes, no, I know, but
fallible human being with all of the same terrible influences that non-doctors have, including if you come out and take a guy who's $350,000 in debt and threaten to bankrupt him, and you make him choose between his family and his patients, who do you think is going to win that? So I can tell you that when it came out to, hey, look, you're going to get, if a pregnant lady comes in and says, I got pain, and you don't treat it, all right, you're going to get your pay cut. And you know that. And you know you can't give them opiates because that has bad effects on fluid and on fetuses, and that's well known. Hey, nobody ever told me anything bad about Tylenol. You're getting Tylenol. I know I can't give you Advil. That'll make the baby have cardiovascular defects. You're getting Tylenol because nobody ever told me that's bad. And you've got 3 minutes to see this patient because the federal government says you're going to get paid better if you see 10 people for 6 minutes than one patient for an hour. So you got to go fast or cramming a lot of it.
That is so messed up.
Yeah, Brad, it's terrible, but I can tell you that is not happening. No OBGYN is sitting down with a patient saying, now, you know, we've never proven Tylenol is safe. Now, let me give a defense for this so that nobody gets into the, Tylenol horrible. You have to remember that some of the times we would give Tylenol to somebody because a mom came in with a high fever and there's a risk of consequences from seizures from the fever. So sometimes we get forced into a, hey, there's no good way out of this. We're going to have to roll bones and take risks. I don't want to get the idea that giving Tylenol is this stupid thing you can do. But what the message has never been done before is, hey, ma'am, you have a little aching right now. Maybe it would be better to tolerate that than take Tylenol because you're pregnant. That's the message I think that's trying to be sent. And that nuance has not been taught in medical school. It is not being stressed anywhere. And that's why we're seeing this backlash of people taking Tylenol to make fun of Trump because they've never heard anything about this before. And it's because it's not being taught. So I have to give some.
I have a question. Do you think like pharmacists would be able, would you know how like some like pharmacists with pharmacology and all kinds of metabolism, would they be the ones who would understand about the way that it's metabolized and would probably intervene and tell a woman like, hey, or would a pharmacist know better that a woman should not take Tylenol when she's pregnant? Would they, you know what I'm saying? You know how like, everybody has a care system.
And I would theoretically say yes, but unfortunately in the last couple of weeks, I found out that pharmacy school is competing with medical school and dental school to see who can screw up healthcare education the worst. So I don't know about that. It may well be that it's, you know, the idea of pharmacology and pharmacotoxicity is something that you would think pharmacists are taught about, but there are a lot of financial influences in nearly every aspect of medical education. And I could easily see that if there's money involved in Tylenol, that's not going to be something we're going to talk a lot about.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Real quick, I want to do a program note here. So Jimmy Bennett, he was on the YouTube. So I wanted to tell everybody that we are on YouTube, X, and Facebook. Most of our viewership is on there. He says, "Am I alone?" And then he pops up on Facebook. So he's not alone. But if you are on YouTube, your comments are coming through. You're just not going to see others commenting. So, which is different than the Witty Show. Most of his people are on YouTube. So that's just a program note. Now, I want to be selfish and ask a question here. And this is about the childhood vaccines, which will probably get us booted off the thing. So I have 4 kids. Unlike Lucy, I have sense. I quit after 4. But one of my kids, they got the childhood vaccines, and like the very first week, they got meningitis, and I've heard this sort of circling around a little bit. He had to stay in the little box for the 4 or 5 days till they got it cured up. Is that something that's common with these vaccines, or is that just something that it's a fluke? To me, they didn't say you have an option on these vaccines. They said, we're just going to do this stuff. We're going to chop the wiener. We're going to give you the shots. We're going to do all the stuff. So I'm like,
well, first of all, become a legal consultant and tell every person listening to the show, there is no one who can ever tell you they're going to give your kid a vaccine against your will. Your consent is required for every parent. Nobody can do that. Second of all, one who says, what's the simple thing on vaccines? And that is that there is nothing simple about vaccines. The second thing people should know is what's the most certain thing you can say about vaccines, and that is that nothing is certain because the research in this area is so dismally, badly done that no one can say anything with certainty, either for safety or for harm. Now, I think it is fair to say that most of us doctors have not seen 20% of kids get meningitis after a vaccine. That said, we should know that vaccines never make the immune system work the same way the natural infection would. Many vaccines make the immune system work in ways very different than it would if it were facing the natural infection. Therefore, there are many of us who have concerns that whatever benefits that some vaccines have, they are outweighed by the risks, but we cannot say that with great certainty. Secretary Kennedy is working as hard as he can to try and get as good a data as he can get. We are probably never going to have 95% certain data for any vaccine on the market right now because this research has been done so badly and the population has been so misinformed that it is certain that it would be impossible to get an unbiased population to a vaccine on right now. But finally, Secretary Kennedy is trying to get the research done as best as it can be done to try and answer some of these questions as certainly as we can answer them. We do have pretty good evidence that's strongly suggestive, not 95% certain, but strongly suggestive, that by giving you a vaccine against one particular germ, I can make your immune system divert all of its activities to fighting that germ and away from fighting other germs, and make you get an infection you would not otherwise get from another germ. And so this understanding of whether vaccines are more beneficial than they are risky, first of all, is going to be different for every vaccine, because vaccines is not a uniform class of drugs. Vaccines are very different from each other. We have heavy metal adjuvanted vaccines. We have vaccines that are adjuvanted with something that's very much like soap. We have live virus vaccines. We have partially weakened pathogen vaccines for bacteria. And so anybody who says vaccines as a class is already talking something silly like medicines in general. This is such a superficial analysis. Nothing useful will come out of it.
I have a quick question, Dr. Stock. So
Yes.
of all of the vaccines that we get over the course of our lifetime, and the different ailments and bugs that they fight, which ones do we really need to have?
Oh, good question.
That's a very good question. And in fact,
we need polio? I don't know.
So first of all, understand that need implies consequence, that if you don't have this vaccine, X, Y, or Z is going to happen. The second thing you need to know is, while we have always presented to the world that the solution to infectious disease is vaccines or nothing, that is a false dichotomy. There is a third option, which has a good amount of research behind it, especially in respiratory viral disease, that says the third option, the one that probably has the least risk, the least cost, and the greatest chance of benefit, is something called immune system optimization. Meaning we do things like vitamin D, zinc, vitamin A, selenium, vitamin K, things that make your immune system better at fighting germs, so that it can now go after the germ that we would otherwise give you a vaccine for in a way that actually prevents you from getting disease. And people should know that this is not just some random theory. I can already tell you that the most effective treatment for COVID-19 that was ever found in any study was the activated form of vitamin D. It was 100% effective on death. It was 90% effective on progression to the intensive care unit. All right.
Get outside in the sun.
Long ago shown as a preventative for influenza and viral respiratory syndromes like the common cold.
So is it more of a change of nutrition over time then? Like, did we used to get those?
Yeah.
Did we used to get those vitamins?
Yeah. Right now, the food supply eats a lot of things that are probably toxic to the immune system. So our bad food supply is part of this. Our food supply has also been depleted in many of the nutrients that we would need to give people. If you live north of Atlanta, Georgia, you basically can't make sufficient levels of vitamin D on your own because you just don't get enough sunlight. There are other nutrients that interact with this that have been depleted in the food supply. And what's been ignored through all of this is much of what's making disease come about may not be this nasty pathogen who has become so snarly at getting up on you, but rather just that you've toxified your immune system so badly that it can't fight germs that it used to. Remember, these pathogens have been around for millions of years. They've never wiped out the human species, all right? About 75 to 80% of people who get influenza never get symptoms, meaning they get infected by the germ, but never know they've got it. Therefore, the things that we have evolved, that we have done that are detrimental to our immune system, may make it so the whole vaccine question is totally irrelevant if we take care of those things. Now, that's going to be different from pathogen to pathogen. If anybody said, do I think that the rabies vaccine is a good thing to do if you get bit by a rabid animal, I sure as the devil would, because evolution hasn't really prepared you to fight rabies. You don't get to see that very often. However, if somebody said a viral respiratory pathogen that we've all been living with billions of years as human beings, look, this is probably something the immune system has already got handled if it works right, or it would have wiped us all out. And in fact, our data supports that that's going on. So when you ask me, gee, are there vaccines that we do need? The answer is, well, we don't know. It may well be that if we use immune system optimization techniques, that vaccines are no better than placebo. They may be more harmful than placebo. Research comparing these two options has not been done, to my knowledge, in any systematic way. We've got research that say this is what happens when we go after a viral respiratory pathogen with zinc and vitamin D and vitamin A. All right, that data looks really good and nothing bad happens. We've got this data with vaccines. Well, that's not really as well done a research. looks like it gets rid of the disease, but boy, what does it do off target? We don't really know. That research has never been done.
So the research arm of the vaccine trial is us.
And
COVID vaccine was one.
All right. I can tell you that this is the important thing for people to know. The hallmark holy grail, if you want to study something's effect, is something called a placebo-controlled, randomized, double-blinded controlled trial. The CDC and the FDA have both admitted under lawsuits, freedom of information requests, that they have 0 such studies. Not a single one on a single vaccine available in the United States today. This is a study that would get a statin drug approved for preventing heart attack and stroke, or a blood pressure medicine approved for preventing heart attack and stroke. None of that research has been done on any vaccine available in the United States today. We have the 2nd and 3rd and 4th tier research. Much of the vaccines research doesn't even have a usable placebo anywhere in the trial.
So the control is just not there. There's not a really control.
Correct. That's correct. That's why when people say, what can you say definitively about vaccines? I can definitively say that you can say nothing definitive about vaccines. All right.
Now you could be a politician, I think. Okay, I want to move on to the next thing. So this is a question that came up quite a while ago. Speaking of, these studies that they're not there, that's what it makes me mad. But if you're mad about the Tylenol, wait till you find out about SSRIs. What the heck is that, Dan Stock?
It's a class of the antidepressants and anti-mood medicines that are properly used that, in my personal reading of the research, do nothing but get people addicted to SSRI drugs. These are really, nobody even knows what they're doing with great certainty. The research on them looks like that they really are very ineffective for making any change long-term, and that whatever change they make within 6 to 9 months is gone. What all toxicity they do in the brain, also not very well studied, because nobody does these studies for longer than about 3 to 6 months.
How did we live this long?
Yes,
I mean, I really feel like I've been poisoned. I'm 64.
I feel like I've been poisoned.
But with SSRIs too, like, I don't understand, like, what is that?
Well,
no. What I mean is,
Prozac.
is like with like the antidepressant medication. Sorry. Oh no, you're good.
Tiffy's dog wants to be on the show.
Like, now I want to pet the dog. So yeah, sorry. ADD.
ADD.
So the selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, and they are antidepressants. Nobody understands why they work. It may have nothing to do with serotonin. What people really need to know about them is if you put 2 groups of people on them and you follow them out for, about 2 to 3 months, which is all the FDA said you have to do to get your thing approved, and you can go sell yourself as an antidepressant. They do have a difference from placebo in about half of the trials, no difference from placebo in the other half of the trials. But in all of the trials, if you followed them out for 9 months, you ended up at the same place as if you stayed on placebo the entire time. They lost all of their effect. And then there was a withdrawal syndrome when you stopped them. And so it was kind of like what would happen if I gave you opiates for pain, only it happened a lot slower. All right. And then if anybody said, well, hey, how about their safety and pregnancy studies? I'd say, how about them? Where are they? They are not available. They've not been done.
Oh, yeah. I mean, how could you? Like, I feel like if you're pregnant, though, like, yeah, most everything is off limits because you're, like how
you could
it's not natural. So
if you could convince pregnant women to take them, you could do a study. You may actually get some happy news. You may get some ugly news. As a scientist, you don't know until you do them.
That sounds like, get them to do it. I don't know how to, like, people would have to sign up for it,
all you have to do is have President Trump say that you should absolutely never do this. And then you'll have a certain select liberal population that will get on TikTok and do your experiment for you.
Yeah, but you should recognize that when you do that, you also only have a study that applies to people who hate President Trump, because now you have a selection bias in the people who join the study.
That is not an independent variable.
Once there is popular information about a treatment that has gone out to the population, it becomes very difficult to do placebo-controlled randomized double-blinded trials, because the only people who will volunteer for them are people who already have been biased in some way by the information they already know about this. And so,
yeah,
there's a lot of-
ivermectin would be an example of the opposite of the Tylenol thing. You know, they were talking about that as being a cure, not being a cure, or not helping, or it's horse medicine. I didn't take any, but you know, is
Again,
that
I still
similar?
feel like we have to give ourselves some credit for getting this far. I mean, like 100 years ago, we were all using heroin in medicines, and you know, cocaine was in Coca-Cola.
Yeah, it's like
you
I
know,
wish I lived back in the 20s.
Well, I just mean, like, you know, we've progressed. It's not an exact science, and I think we all should remember that too. Like, we're all winging it. We're just letting people like check in on our bodies. It's a strange concept, I think, still. So
While you're
to your point, maybe all I remember, Dr. Stock, is that when I was pregnant, my doctor was very much like, don't take anything if you don't need to. You don't get your hair relaxed. You don't get your hair dyed. You don't get your nails done. Like when you're pregnant, you treat your body like a temple. And it seems crazy to me that people, like if you tell them don't take Tylenol, they would go out and take a bunch of it because, you know, like the metabolism, your body is so different when you're pregnant and you really need to protect it. And I apologize that my small dog is barking. I'm going to take her back to the Humane Society.
It's there. I think that I can't speak dog words. He says, "Give me some Tylenol, please." So I have put up here the world clock. You know, this is the population clock because once I got into my census thing here, whatever that is, I decided to look at this up at the Census Bureau, and they have this clock up there, and it was saying that every 8 seconds something's happening, and a death every 11 and a birth every 8 seconds. So every 14 seconds we gain another person, and you can see the clock ticking there. Just as we've been on this show, we've got about 1,000 or 1,800 people. I don't know. A lot of people were getting born here. So
okay, that whole formula is just mind blowing to me. By the way, like I'm trying to think of like how they even come up with that because we're trusting other countries' stats too.
If you go down on here,
each other's stats.
If you go down on here, I'll try to scroll this down, and it talks about the populations, of the other countries. Oh, it's like India is 1.4 billion, and China 1.4 billion. We're number 3 at 242 million. I mean, that's a lot of folks. I mean, that's crazy. And just as we were talking, Brad, America added 10 people and the world added a whole bunch. So
how many people are dying? Like,
well, it's every 11 seconds. So you're gaining every 14 seconds.
So it's just
gaining a person.
Oh my God, that's so freaking weird.
Yeah, it's just it's
However, I would
mind-boggling.
make a comment on this. As a guy who likes scientific method, I won't speak as an expert on population science, but from what I have seen, the quality of research being done here is akin to the quality on humans' contribution to global climate change. This scientific method is being done dismally badly as well. Many people are making assumptions that they have no business making. They're making up models and then believing models. Models are not research, no matter what anybody tells you. A model is something you do to flatter your ego and prove yourself right. But a model is not evidence that proves anything. And when people come out with these things, we should all look at this and roll our eyes a little bit and say, well, this may be something that is just not researchable and no one can claim to be an expert on it. So I would tell people, especially when I look at the way the scientific method for the human contribution to global warming has been done, this research has been miserably bad.
Yeah.
Now, we may have been right with a different answer than the one I expect, but the research right now has been done very poorly. And I suspect that from what I've seen, the population science people are doing an equally shoddy job. They probably should get jobs at the FDA and CDC before Secretary Kennedy took over. Right now, they seem to be less welcome there.
Yeah. Well, it seems like people will pick out things to do this. I mean, we had Al Gore in the 90s or 2000. We only had 10 more years, and the polar ice caps were going to, I know, Brad, that's your boy, Brad. That's your guy.
Yeah. Oh,
and,
South Park tore him apart too, by the way. Like, I
did
want
they?
that to be remembered because a lot of people are trashing South Park right now because it's like, oh, well, quit trashing Trump. And I'm like, they
that's what they do.
Made Al Gore like completely insane, thinking that there was a man bear pig that would come and like kill people. I mean,
I think that people recognize that the person who most made fun of Al Gore was Al Gore, because Al Gore came out and made categorical statements on very fragile evidence. The man made an idiot of himself and has been proven wrong because he kept making claims that were based upon very fragile research. He made them as if they were definitive. He's in the same category of people who think like Anthony Fauci. And I tell somebody, these people embarrass themselves. If they make themselves the butt of jokes, they have worked very hard to do so. This has been, as a guy who loves scientific method, there are a lot of people out there wearing the mantle of science who don't really care to use this as a tool for describing reality.
Yeah,
they use it as a tool to confuse themselves into a view of reality they want, rather than a way to find out about reality.
Okay, so back to my clock here. There was a reason I brought this thing up. How long do you think it's going to take? We have 8.1 billion. Well, give or take a 10 or 15, 8.1 billion people in the world. How long? When are we going to have no more room? I mean, hey, getting a little crowded down here.
The answer to your question is no one has a reasonably researched answer to your question that can be relied upon to answer that.
I've got some missing context. Missing context is actually the Deagle report, which says by the end of 2025, a mere 3 short more months, right? October, November, 4 months. Deagle says that by 2025, the population of the U.S. will be down to 99 million, a reduction of about 70%.
So yeah, I mean, would it surprise anybody that like it does hit like a point where something happens and it is reduced by a third at least,
or 70%? I mean, we're already in the midst of a repopulation replacement. We're in replacement population.
Oh, complete
boomers. Yeah, I'm the only boomer on here.
Out because we're not having enough babies. The birth rate's low, and you're boomers. Nope. I mean, that won't net.
No, not a 70% reduction. No.
No, but it will get us less people, not maybe a 70% reduction, but there'll be a reduction in American population.
I just want to know
vaccines kick in.
Are all of us
what is the
we need more people? By the way, like, is this
to go?
Elon Musk says we need more people
to go in the military.
Well, Elon Musk can go like just. He doesn't need to be talking about anything. Elon Musk is not an expert.
We got some wars coming up. Maybe we'll have another war.
Yep, civil war.
So how many people were killed in the World War II? There was a bunch, wasn't it? Like millions, and like there was a bunch that were. They didn't seem to slow the clock down.
The American side, the other side.
They had the Holocausters.
They had all that. Hegseth talked to the military today, and oh boy, our military is going to be in shape because of Hegseth. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I don't know. It's crazy times right now.
Worn the uniform. I will tell you that they would always tell you, and I got out of the military in 2003, so nothing offensive against anybody. But when I was in the military from 1996 to 2003, when you would go places, you could always tell who was active duty and who was guard or reserve by the height weight standards, the way that the uniform was just worn, pressed, looked good to go, shined boots. You could always tell. And then that was one of the things that seemed to make the military life doable for people who were in the Guard and Reserves, were kind of the laxed height weight standards, lax physical stuff. But, so it does have its ramifications when you do raise those standards.
Yeah. So, Lucy, what did you post in a private chat here? What am I getting ready to put up there? Is this like a picture of me?
Yeah, this is a web archive because, of course, once it got out that Deagle was saying that the population of the U.S. and other countries, but the U.S. in particular, would be down by 70% of the current population rate, so down from 350 million down to 99 million. It got taken off of the internet in 2021. So if you didn't
Okay, well,
save
it's
it,
back on the
this is
internet.
your
I just put
chance.
it up there. So it's
Yeah, there
back.
you go. Yeah, so it's in the web archive, but you'll see that there's a big reduction um, in in the U.S. I mean, like horrifying, going from 326 million people according to this down to 99 million people, and you'll also see the reduction in the GDP from 19. I don't know if this is in. I'm assuming this is in trillions, not billions. I'm not sure what our GDP is, down to 2445.
Well, I
So,
guess we don't need that much production if we don't have that many people, right?
right,
I
and you'll see the same thing with China, but the interesting thing, if you look at number 1 in China, they're saying that when the population goes down, the GDP is gonna go up. So what that's telling you is that there's gonna be a wealth transfer from richer
I think,
countries
yeah,
to poorer
I think
countries.
the takeaway that should be taken from this, ladies and gentlemen, is human beings have developed an incredible hubris about their ability to protect the future. This idea of doing models, there are people who think that somehow models are scientific method. They are not scientific method. They're actually where a group of people sit down, make assumptions they probably have no reason to make, pretend that there are no other variables involved, which when there probably are, and then come up with a prediction which has a reliability of somewhere around 5 to 10%, because they have already assumed that they know all the variables that should be in the equation, how to measure them, and how they interact with each other. And when these models are made up, and then people say, we should do this because of the model, the first response that you should have to them is, this is not science. This is something you're doing for self-entertainment. It's to flatter your own ego. This is not scientific method. No decisions should be made on models. Models are not scientific method. And we've seen this over and over again, from climate change to population science, where they come out with a prediction. They do it and change the prediction every 10 years because it's wrong. And they sit down and wonder, well, geez, what's wrong with my model, without ever recognizing maybe the problem is that you made a model. This is not how you do research.
I used to make models when I was a kid. I made a 76 Camaro and I made a Ford F-150.
No, but I want to know what,
plastic.
like, why France? Like, France's population is gonna drop in half.
No, it's not. France's population is going up because of the Muslim invasion. And I'm a French major, so I can talk about this.
No, according to the
Well,
thing
according
that says, like,
according to Deagle, it's going down, but
But
France
again,
since
Deagle
the
should be
80s has
disclosed.
not replaced themselves. The
Deagle
French
should
birth
be
rate was like
disclosed.
1.2.
This is not knowledge.
No, Dan, I was looking at a chart when you said that too. Like, so I was still looking at that chart for when you were saying all that, and so when you said you're looking at a chart, like, that was
He
great.
just busted out laughing. Okay, so we're going to move on to the next thing here. I'm going to give you a choice. We're going to talk about this fine census letter I have here, which I know Lucy's chomping at the bit to get on that one. Or we're going to talk about J.D. Vance and Brad's leftist comrades that are causing all this violence. So which I'll let Brad decide, since Brad did the talking notes. What do you want to talk about? One more thing. We got the census or your lefty violent people.
Oh, the census, because it's more
coming.
Indiana.
I figured. And then we're doing the tinfoil hat thing. I got it right over here warming up.
Redistricting my ass. Like, this is the worst thing that this Congress is doing. I can't believe it.
That's this census is a random. Here, let me read some of the.
You just think you got one for no reason?
Yeah, well, that's what and I want Lucy to weigh in on this first. So here you go. I open it up. It's in this one of those little things that you have to rip the little deal off of the edges to make it happen. I open it up. It says, message from the director of the U.S. Census Bureau. Does anybody know who the director is? I mean, it just says that your address has been randomly selected by the U.S. Census Bureau to participate in the American Community Survey. I feel important already. The Census Bureau conducts this survey each year to give our country an up-to-date picture of how we live, including our housing, education, and jobs. Well, apparently they didn't understand that saying Johnny can't read is from me. I'm the person that had that saying. So I don't know what they want to do. So I have to respond to this. It's required by U.S. law. I don't know what happens. It doesn't say if they're going to come hunt me out in the middle of the night, go through my underwear drawer, or what they're going to do to me. So Lucy, what what kind of invasion of my privacy is this?
Well, first of all, is this one of those surveys that want to know like how many bathrooms you have and how many people you live at the house and ethnicities? Because the only real purpose of the census is for apportionment, right? So taxes in the US Constitution say that the federal government is supposed to figure out how much money they need to run the government with. And then they look at the states and they say, you got 1 million people, you got 10 million people. So you pay 10%, you pay 90%. That's the only thing they're supposed to do. So anything outside of that is outside of the constitutional mandate. And I would just simply throw it away. I would put it in the
Here
circular
I go
file.
to jail. When
Is
they
it a
come for
scam?
me,
Is
when
it a
they come
scam?
for me, I'll say, Lucy said I didn't have to fill it
Yep,
up.
tell me, send them to my house next. They'll go out the back door.
Yeah,
You know, John, if you read it carefully, my bet is it says that what's federal law is that they have to conduct the survey. But there's
no,
probably
it says right there, your response. Look, let's see if I can get it back there. Your response is required by U.S. law. Oh, you almost saw my code. I don't want somebody else get on there and spill it out.
FU is a response.
if it doesn't,
FU is a response.
So
you might want
I'm going to
ask
call. I'm
what
going to. They got a number
compliant.
on here. They got a number on here. That's why I was looking up the world clock. They got. I'm going to call and find out. I may, but another thing is like, so my business and Dan, I think you have. Anybody else have a business on this call? Dan, you have EIN number, and Lucy, you have an EIN.
Oh, yeah.
So my thing is like, okay, I got to pay a $20 business entity report every year to tell them I'm in business. All those fools have to do is go to the Department of Revenue and see the $2,000 I pay every week for my employees. I mean, on their side of the Social Security and all that. Why do I need to pay $20 for them to understand this? So I'm ranting and raving here. Why do Lucy, why do they got to get in my business like that?
Well, first of all, you should thank your lucky stars that you're not paying the franchise taxes, which are over $900 a year annually in California. And if you did business with people in California, they want to get that anyway. It's just another tax. It's just another way to get
Who
money
wants to
going
do
out of your
business
pocket into
with people in
theirs.
California, though?
Not me.
Hey,
Not
they're the number one state in population.
Kid, I love
If
California.
we could go back
That
to
place
the
is freaking
population thing here. Yeah, they are like number one. Their cities are the biggest and all that stuff. So, hey, don't mess with California. There's a lot of people.
Well, it's like, but Northern California is just awesome, though, too. Like, it's completely different.
Yeah.
Nature.
Yeah, I got a brother-in-law that lives out there, and he's like got a Trump hat and all that. So, but I don't think he wears it, but he has it. So, but don't tell
John,
anybody.
What I would encourage you to do is to call up the people from that census letter and say, what's the penalty if I don't do that? Because I can tell you our legislators right now are so distracted by lobbyist annoyance and threats and reimbursement for the few of them that they write such stupid laws. They may well have said, there's a law that you have to respond to this with no consequence if you don't.
That's a very good point, Dr. Stock. I will do that, and I will report back next week on this show. We will talk about that indeed.
And I will be surprised to find out that there is no consequence for it.
Well, I hope so. But I think that, the census has been around since Jesus's times, because that's what they were doing when Jesus went and got lost in the tabernacle when he was like 12 or whatever, because they were going to report for the census. At least I'm getting the mail. I don't have to go to Jerusalem or wherever to report on that. So it's been around for a while. The government wants to see what we're doing. So I got it. So,
but also, you don't think it's about the redistricting?
No, this is a U.S. government. This is a U.S. census. This is United States Census. See, it says right there.
Yeah,
United States.
Like,
how do you know it's not a scam?
That's why I'm going to call the number. It's got a number on there. I'm going to call the number, and it matches up the thing. I'm on this, Tiffany. I am not getting scammed by these people. I'm going to make sure that they are legit. I'm going to find out what the penalty is, and then I'm going to push them to the very limit.
So what are our thoughts on redistricting?
Okay, we'll do one more just since Tiffany said it. Then we're going to tinfoils.
That's why I wanted to go to that too. Like, I don't get why.
Spiro said read some of the questions.
Read some. I don't have the survey.
The thing. You don't have the survey?
I got to go online and get the little code.
Oh, okay.
So it's not like they gave me the questions. So I will do all that. I will give a full report next week on that. And Dr. Stock, you have to watch the show if you want to find out. I'm not sending that to you. You're on your own. So
I wouldn't answer any emails from him, honestly, for the next week or so, just to be safe, though.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
this. What kind of world?
Uh-huh.
We got so many. I mean, I get text messages for tolls that I have that I've never paid to call this number that's overseas. I mean, come on, scammers, get better. At least have a similar area code to the place that would try to scam me.
I like the group text messages alerting me to a high-paying job that I can work from home, and all they need is my social security number to get me started.
Can't wait. Or there's just so many of them.
Message. It's a group message, and somebody was like, "Hey, be smart enough not to send a group message."
Yeah,
that's a farm on that one.
Yeah, that is automatically no good, no fly. So, okay, we're going to go around the horn. Keep it short. I want to get to this conspiracy thing. So, Brad, what's your opinion on redistricting? It's like,
I think it's carving it up too early. It's going to waste a ton of money, and it's just kind of insulting based on what they all ran on was like efficiency, and this is actually just going to spend a bunch of taxpayer money to do something that shouldn't be done yet.
Run the models. They've already run the models.
This is already a done deal, Brad. But anyway, Lucy, I'll get to you, Tiffany. I'm going across the board here. Lucy's turn. I want to keep it short. Lucy's turn.
You know what? I'm just going to sit this one out.
Not my monkey, not my circus. I knew you were going to say that. I knew it. Tiffany, what do you think?
Based on our country having an open border for many years and the American population being inflated by illegal visitors, I think that it's probably necessary to look at redistricting in some places just to make sure that representation is adequately reflecting the population.
Okay,
that
well,
is not the first time you said that.
Like the census in Indiana, they count everybody. The census in Indiana counts everybody. They don't ask if you're any of that stuff. So
yeah, but at this point, if I was, why would you answer any questions? I'm sorry. Go on.
That's okay.
I would actually make two comments on redistricting. The first one is you have to see why it's being done. If it's being done to correct previous gerrymandering on wrong racial lines, then it is a reasonable thing to do. And this has been true in many of the blue states that there has been terrible gerrymandering already around racial lines that needs to be erased. The second thing people need to know about gerrymandering is it really doesn't matter that much, ladies and gentlemen, because at the end of the day, it's just determining which party will run in fear from the lobbyists who come demanding that they do what they want. And it's to distract you from ever fixing the fact that we have a campaign cash thing here that is used to threaten all of your legislators so they will make really stupid laws and not fix them in the way that you want. And instead you'll get what the lobbyists want. And so I tell people it only changes what kind of an advantage the lobbyist is going to have. Lobbyists really like uniparty states because now they only have to bribe one set of legislators.
Yeah. All right. Speaking of that,
who they're going to have to bribe. I don't want to say bribe because most of them aren't getting positive stuff. It's who they have to threaten because most of them are responding to negative influence. They aren't getting rich.
You don't get that mother's milk. You don't get to go. So explain that the coalition of, I can forget again, of legislation.
Legislature accountability.
Yes.
The idea is to change the rules of the legislatures right now because the lobbyists are using the rules of the legislature so that they can identify who's not doing what they want and threaten them in the primary and therefore keep all the legislators in line. And it's to teach our legislators that, first of all, if they change these rules to make themselves more accountable to us, their constituents, they will be less accountable to the lobbyists who threaten them all day long. And that these rules, which most of them have never realized are putting them under the subjugation of the lobbyists so they can be threatened, that these rules are easy to change. When these rules are changed so that, hey, you can't dodge debates and you can't hide how you voted and how you dodged the debate, you will become more accountable to your constituents and therefore less accountable to a lobbyist. And that is much more important than redistricting.
All right. Citizens Coalition for Legislature. What's the last
Accountability.
one? Accountability. When I get it,
legislature.com.
Okay. Yeah. So go check that out. I mean, it basically does not let our elected officials hide. I mean, behind whatever they're hiding behind, they have to be accountable. So, okay. On that note, no more questioning. I'm playing the themes, the thing to the tinfoil hat. So get it ready, okay?
Hey y'all, it's time for the conspiracy theory, so you better get your tinfoil hat out and let's see what's going on this week.
That thing is 4.5 years old, I think. That's crazy. Craziness.
It's aged very well.
Yeah, it still fits. I still got the teeth somewhere. I won't put them in. Got them right there. There. So I'll tell you one funny story about that. So Lisa's daughters were over when we lived in the Speedway, and they were all sitting in the living room and talking. I put those teeth in there, and they hadn't known me for very long. And I went down and just started talking a little bit. And I walked out. I could hear them in there going, "Did you see his teeth?" I'll tell you what. Sometimes I make myself crack up.
You
But
told
anyway,
that on show 189.
yeah, I think I did. I'm glad you were paying attention, Tiffany. But it's still a funny story, and they still are a little scared of me. So that's good. All right, so we got to start out with the queen of conspirafact, Lucy Brenton. Taxation is theft.
Spiro would like the banner. Spiro would like the banner.
The banner.
Yes. Yeah, the banner,
Ugh.
dude, the banner.
Thank you, Spiro.
All right,
So
there we go.
it's short, it's sweet, it's just the facts. Bill Gates been buying up all the farmland. It's not just to be able to sell us impossible meat, which is a failure, and it's not just to raise more bugs to try and sell us those. But if you start to look at where his purchases have been distributed, and I started looking at this recently because I want to put a well on my property, guess what? It turns out that the water that he's bought in Indiana and the water that he's bought through North Dakota, South Dakota, Iowa, and Nebraska is all along the aquifers. And if you recall, the CEO of Nestle was very famous for saying that water was not a human right. It was just a commodity like everything else. So it starts to take on a little bit more of a sinister turn, even for Bill Gates, because, if you can control the water, you can control the people and make a lot of money doing it, which is obviously his game.
Yes, I would suggest watching Dr. Strangelove when he's talking to Mandrake. Mandrake, the human body is made up of water. Fluoridation's no good. So you need to. I know Brad. Brad,
we're so docile now. We're totally docile because of all the fluoride.
Yeah, you love
and
that movie.
Yvonne pointed out, where are we going with this, Lucy? Data centers for surveillance. Well, another reason that Bill Gates might be wanting to put them there is because data centers are very water intensive. And so it might be best, in his mind, of course, being somebody that supplies IT products, to put his data centers above the aquifers where he's more likely to have, easier access to water. But I think there really needs to be some serious thought given to the idea that humans and animals and natural creatures upon the earth are the first ones to have access to water. And Indiana, actually, as I was reading some legislation about, wells and what you can do, we do have some wording in our laws that basically kind of says that that the goal is to supply water to humans and animals first. But once you go west of the Mississippi, the riparian rights get to be a little dicey, where you're not even allowed to collect the water that falls on your own property.
Oh, how are they going to stop that?
Lucy,
they put you in jail.
I never thought about it.
After they get me on the census? Yeah, I'm sure. They'll probably want to know how much water I take.
Well, I'll tell you what. There are some influencers named what is it? Doug and Stacy. So Doug and Stacy are really big in the homesteading thing. They moved out to 11 acres. They're in Missouri, and they get all of their water that they use is rainwater. And they've got a big pole barn, and he put in these huge cisterns in the pole barn, and every rooftop, and they've got, multiple buildings for their sheep and their horses and stuff. Every rooftop collects water. You would be really, really shocked and amazed if you start calculating the amount of water that comes off of a roof. You think about
bird
it.
Poop. How much bird
Wouldn't
poop
that mess with the
on a
water
roof?
cycle, though?
No, it really doesn't.
It's called the Krebs cycle, Brad. Don't you go look up that in the friggin' library?
Listen, we all don't know.
Cycle.
Krebs cycle that is hilarious.
Considerate of everyone in the audience who might be as dumb as me and not know that it was that.
You have
we all knew what I was talking about.
We're going to call you the Jimmy Kimmel of our show. You're not funny and you're not smart.
Oh, Seth Meyers. I love that.
Yeah. Yvonne is absolutely right. So, so we're actually in an AI bubble right now. So I think one of the big things that we have to worry about is the production and erection of all of these centers, and and the building of them, and then the AI tech bubble bursting, and then perhaps having centers that are just there with nothing to do. I don't think that they're going to let that happen though, because the idea of having AI overlords, I mean, think about it. Every data center that's built is built to house more information to control you. So wherever they are, we have to fight them. That's the only purpose of the data center, is to grab more information to control you.
Yeah, and I think the data center will go the way of the fax machine or the postage machine. So remember, back in the day in the 80s, it was, if you were to sell in a Pitney Bowes postage machine, man, you were almost
Yeah.
as good as Tiffany selling the pharmaceuticals. I mean, that was,
Yeah.
that and
True.
pagers, selling pagers. They went the way of the pager too. What happened to a pager? Think about all the stuff that's the Commodore 64. Where do you think those are now? I just think that, we're going to build these data centers and turn them into, maybe we can turn them into ice cream freezers. I don't know. It's something's going to happen there. So anyway, who else has got something here? Great one. Lucy, that's a great one. We must have compared notes because mine is similar to that, but different. So who's next?
I'll go just because I want to talk. Can you guys explain to me about how to not be freaked out about the government shutdown and Trump sending the military into Oregon of all freaking places at the same time? And it's like that he's just gonna get to do whatever he wants now, I bet, because why not? Because nobody, if it's all shut down, he's just gonna say go do it. And
yeah. Well, I guess they're planning on.
Explain to me how is that just gonna happen then?
Are you a state employee?
And why do you guys, not you guys, I'm sorry, but why would people accept
you're
that?
Talking about Tiffany
and vote for that?
I'm talking posse comitatus, baby. There should not be troops. I'm talking Kent State. Trump is old enough to remember Kent State. But that's a completely different issue from the other.
That local law enforcement is not protecting federal property, which appears they're not. Therefore, he has a right to protect that federal property with the National Guard. He doesn't have any ability to enforce law, but he does have the ability to protect people who are enforcing law. And if he were to send out troops to protect ICE agents, that would be within his right, even within the Posse Comitatus Act. They wouldn't be able to make arrests, but they would be able to protect ICE agents. And that would be within his purview of his power if he thought that the federal facilities were not being defended. And that's actually what he sent people to do. Soldiers have not been sent to arrest illegal immigrants. So that conspiracy, I think.
What are they doing about trucks driving into churches and
burning it and all
like that?
The military wouldn't do anything about that, because that would be a violation of the Posse Comitatus Act, because they would not be protecting federal agents and federal property. What he's used them to do is to protect federal agents and federal property. That is not a violation of Posse Comitatus, and it is within his power to do as the executive officer of the United States.
And it sort of sends a message that, hey, we're doing something different. Hey, Brad, they're coming for you in the comments. I had to put a couple of them up there. So
that's I don't think that that's happening in Portland right now. Wait
a second. That's where the antifa took over the whole street.
No, and then it comes down to what you see and what you hear, and and it's but it's how is it not going to happen in any other city with a worse crime rate than Portland? How is it not going to? How is everybody just okay with this precedent of it not really being an emergency? It's not like the '92 riots in LA. I get that. That shut the city down. Sports teams stopped playing games for that. I get that. The whole city shut down. These aren't those. This isn't that.
Well, you have to remember, if you send in the military to shut down a riot, that would actually be a violation of the Posse Comitatus Act.
Because they're not protecting federal. Yeah,
that's correct. You're not protecting federal property or law enforcement. You're just actually doing law enforcement. And that's not something that he can use the military to do. But if what's happening is people are throwing things at an ICE facility, well, he can send them there to do that. That is not law enforcement. That is protecting federal property from abuse. And if the local law enforcement is not going to do that, which has been a problem in many of these places, that when people leave, the ICE agents leave, they get pelted and people do things to them. They show up where they're going and do things to them. If he sends the military in to protect them from that, then he is not violating posse comitatus. So actually breaking up a riot with the military would be a violation of posse comitatus.
Yeah, well, that'd be a Kent State thing. You know, actually, my design teacher.
Well,
went
wait,
to
then
Kent
that's
State.
my conspiracy theory: is that Trump has actually had Kash Patel order FBI agents to be paid agitators.
Now that's a better conspiracy.
Now you're doing that, Brad.
And
You're starting to
throw
get you're starting to get the
And
hang
then
of this
they'll,
conspiracy thing.
you
I'm
know,
going to take back
to
the
get
you're
it
not very
going.
smart comment.
Because again, protesting, it's like you know how you should do it. Doing that shit is not how you do it.
Okay, so here we got a request from Spiro Heraklianos, the famous Greek. He says, "Can you take a survey about the chances of shutdown with the 8-ball?" Let's see what it says here, if I can read. And I'm serious about getting a new one. This thing is hard to read. It's just you know, it just, what's it saying? Come on in here. This is a live show, and it's my what's that say? Say no. It says my sources say no. The Magic 8-ball sources say no. We won't have a shutdown. The 8-ball has spoken. We'll see about that. Okay.
I think there will be one. Like,
I don't think the 8-ball's right, but hey, I'm not going against the 8-ball. It's made some very good stock picks on the Stock Market Neophyte show. So who's next? We got Tiffany and Dr. Stock left. Tiffany's not touching this one. She's elected official. They'll clip this. She'll be out. That's done. So she gets a pass. So Dr. Stock, it's you and me. It's me and you, the bottom guys here, the bottom feeders.
Well, if I were going to have a conspiracy theory, it'll be found out that Tylenol is being added to all food as a coloration additive.
That sounds racist. Or wait, that was.
That's good.
A fair question.
Okay, fair questions. Okay, yes.
Dr. Stock, do you think that I don't know if the government is the word or the cabal or whatever. Do you think they're really trying to poison and kill us between like the foods, the vaccines, all of the toxins in our environment? Is it just because of this is where we evolved to? Or do you think there's just systematic, let's get them hooked on Diet Coke, let's put this in here, or do they just not know?
I would explain it to you this way. You can only get so stupid for free. Ignorance you have to pay for. And many people are willing to pay for it. And we have seen the health decisions in the United States are not being done naively. They're being done ignorantly. And that doesn't happen without somebody expending financial capital to see it happen. And that's what happens when you influence a legislature with campaign cash. You can get all kinds of stupid things to come out. And then you can pay for people to do things that are very profitable.
So
what can be more profitable than making people sick and then making the things that treat it but never cure it?
Just keeps the money coming.
So, no, it's not happening by accident.
Make the money. Make money. Yvonne is correct. Okay, I'm going to wind this up. Then we're going to go watch the Fever game. I think that it's already going. Are they winning? Are they winning, Tiffany?
It's tied 33-33. Well,
that's a good number, 33. So, okay, I'm going to piggy.
So stop talking.
Why is the Illuminati controlling this Fever games now?
Yeah, I think that's true. Well, I can't make a comment.
You had your conspiracy theory.
Yeah, you've already had yours. So mine is piggybacking off of Lucy. Now, I just got off the phone with Elon Musk today, and we were talking about these things, and I asked him if I could talk about this. So he is going to start a data center up in space. Now, think about it. Now, hear me out here, why this is going to happen. Now, he's a very smart guy. Think about it. Where is colder than space? What is colder than space? You don't need the stinking water to cool the computers. You're already up there where it's already cold. So he's way ahead of things. I can't tell you the exact launching dates of this, but just be prepared. Be prepared.
John, this is not the international signal for smart.
Oh, it's not? I'm sorry.
John, it's going to take a really long wire.
Well,
John, I'd be worried. No, I could see
it's laser beams.
Yeah,
I can't say anymore. I've already given away too much.
Why are we giving we're making the villain in a superhero movie.
I'm just saying
Like,
what
we're
what
watching
he
that
told me.
happens.
He said it was going to have, they're going to be sharks with laser beams in a pool
Sharks with
up
fucking
in this
laser
building
beams.
in space.
Brad, I mean, he's got multiple layers. He can be both villain and victor and friend and angel.
Yeah,
People
you
have
just can't
layers.
figure him out.
Didn't you
I've
see
never
Shrek?
seen.
Didn't you
Yeah,
see
I've
Shrek?
never seen anything so inspiring as to when he did his little Hulk smash scream at MSG. I think he was hopped up on.
I just want to
goofballs.
say this. I'm going to wind this up with this. His mom took a lot of Tylenol when she was pregnant. That's maybe what made him super genius. Maybe. I don't know.
Don, I love you, man. This is. I love being on the show.
All right. Well, on that note, I would have signed this thing off here if I could find the right thing. I got it. I got it.
1 second. Dr. Stock, do you think some women might feel guilty about having taken Tylenol?
Well, I would hope not. You have to remember that if somebody does something because they have been lied to, the responsibility for the action lies with the person who told the lie, not the person who believed it. And again, I think.
But doesn't that imply intent, though? Like, what if the intent was not there? Like, I don't
think it
Yeah,
matters.
they didn't know that. They didn't know.
no, but that. Never mind.
But
Yeah.
still, the mother would not be responsible if her doctor told her, "Oh, it's safe," only because he'd been told it was safe and he trusted that. I mean, ignorance becomes I mean, how many people long did we believe that the earth was flat? I mean, ignorance is a very powerful force, and when you teach it the right way, you can make it go very easily. That doesn't impugn the mother, and I would hope no mother felt guilty about that.
No, I don't think that there's a lot of things that go on in our lifetimes that we think good, bad, and ugly. Just look forward. Don't look. The windshield's bigger than the rear view mirror. How's that for your saying for the week? So, all right, on that, hey, Dr. Stock, thank you so much for coming on a short notice. Your wealth of information. Keep on keeping on. And we'll have you back on again for maybe you'll get into double digits before anybody else. And we'd love having you on our show.
Thank you. Yep.
Thanks very much, guys. I'm very flattered when you ask.
All right. We'll see you next week. I had an idea for somebody, but I can't remember. You just have to pay attention. So we'll have another fabulous guest next week. Everybody, have a great week. See you next Tuesday. Over and out.
Yeah.